Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast, episode number 483. And it is a great Wednesday night here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting from. And joining me in just a few minutes is the vivacious, the loquacious, and the audacious Holly Phillippe. Yes, she will be with us just momentarily. Get ready for the show, and it's going to be a great one tonight. Can't wait to talk to tonight's guest. It's going to be a really, really good one, folks. And the chat room is open, and we often take comments and questions and all kinds of stuff from the chat room. So be sure to log in and participate using the app, the Podbean app. And the first one in the chat room tonight is award-winning author and screenwriter Carol Preflatish, the first one into the chat room tonight, followed closely by Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva. And that would be Dan Klefstad and Eva Vertrice. Yes, and I'm about to wait and see who has control of that account tonight, as far as who it is behind the account tonight. But we actually just spent a great evening with Dan. A great evening, great weekend with Dan and Eva at Scarefest Weekend 2025 here in Lexington. And yes, it is Eva. I do see that it's Eva. And it was a great weekend. Holly and I had the privilege of being part of the Vamp Chat crew for the weekend. Scarefest, of course, is based in Lexington, and they cover all kinds of things: horror, paranormal, lots of stuff across the speculative fiction and creative world is there. I mean, all kinds of costumes and tons and tons and tons of vendors and all kinds of celebrities. And I mean, it's just such an amazing, amazing show. And easily over 40,000 people through those doors over the weekend. Turnout was phenomenal. And I think Holly has just joined me in progress. So, Holly, your ears must have been burning.
No, but I was going to say I caught the tail end. Yeah, they counted. I've seen somewhere on the internet it was 45,000 people.
45. Okay, 45,000. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe it.
I
I've
mean
been to
it was
many events,
insane.
and
It
judging by the
never
crowd I witnessed, yeah, it was
it
enormous.
never stopped, and never in my life have I been so exhausted just from handing out information and talking to people. I mean, it was unreal. But man, did we get the word out about Vamp Chat, about Imaginarium. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think the estimate was, I think Eva and I were talking, and I think it was somewhere around 3,000 Vamp Chat stickers were handed out
Yeah.
over the weekend. I know I had
And
a
we did
hand
over a
in preparing
thousand
quite a few. Yeah, about 1,000
Imaginarium
Imaginarium
cards
cards. Yeah, with a
and
discount
then
for
extra
the folks.
coupons because we ran
Yeah,
out of
coupons.
cards. I was handing
Yeah,
out coupons. So was Dan and Eva.
yeah. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, it was just nonstop, and yeah, no, Dan came to the rescue a few times. He brought that good cadre of healthy snacks. So he had
Thank
one of my
God.
favorite things in the world, Kalmata olives.
Yes.
So gave me
That
a
did
little.
help. Little salt,
It helped.
Yep, yep, to
It
help
it did
keep us
help,
all
and
alive. Because I tell you, we were fading fast. We were all done by Sunday. Oh my God, we were
yeah,
done. And
3 full days.
did you tell
Yeah.
him about me getting a banter with angry grandma?
No, I just started talking about Scarefest.
Oh
So you,
shit. Y'all, if y'all know Angry Grandma, her and her grandson Jake, I'm sure you've seen them. They're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Reels, everywhere. She cusses like a sailor, and she's like my spirit animal. She acts just like my mother, just
she
like
acts
her.
a lot like Holly's mother.
And,
If you want to
and
see
me,
a preview of Holly's mother, look up Angry
yeah,
Grandma.
yep. So she was sitting at the back dock. They had her because we was getting ready to load up, and I went back there to find a push cart for the coffin, for Dan and Eva's coffin. So I went back there, and here she was. They had her near the loading dock, and she had cigarette mouth, lighter ready, but she was ready. And I put my hand on her shoulder. I said, honey, we are big fans of yours. And I said, you act just like my damn mom. I said, you two are just alike. She said, is that right? I said, that's right. I said, you all would tear up the bingo hall and give them hell. And she laughed and she said, Well, that damn grandson of mine, he left me sitting here. He's out there in the truck fiddling around. And I said, well, that son of a bitch. I said, buddy, when I'd see him, I'd kick him right in the ass. And she goes, well, by God, I'll tell you, he ain't leaving without my ass.
Oh yeah, Holly
Oh,
definitely hit it off with angry
I
grandma.
had so much fun, and
Yeah,
I told her, I said, "Well, have a safe trip home, honey, and love your show. We watch you all the time." But then I went on about my business. But yeah, she's a freaking trip.
yeah,
Oh
she's
my
amazing.
god!
Yeah, and I
And
also
and
like to
then
report. Yeah, the other celebrities were there were some that are just super down to earth. Bentley
yes,
got to meet and talk with Chris Jericho, wrestler Chris Jericho from AEW and WWE fame, and he was super cool to him. And then Beck got to meet and talk with David Arquette. Also, can report he's down to earth and very cool. And Holly and I got to reunite a bit with the Booth brothers,
yeah,
Christopher and Phillippe Booth, who, of course, were on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine for
for
their
who's
song
who?
that went viral again for Who's Who.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's what
yeah, great to see them again. I we got to spend a little good, had a nice little visit with them. I got to, I loved
yeah, a
it.
few
Really
times.
good to
Every
see them
time I
again.
go
Yeah,
by there, I'd get stopped by
yeah.
Chris, and we'd get in another big discussion. But yeah, he is definitely. They're going to try to come to Imaginarium, so that's going to be amazing. But I
Yeah.
do want to say something, Steve. Do you feel like you could sing a song? Do you feel like you could sing?
I don't know.
We need to sing a song real quick because we have a birthday
Oh,
boy
we
in
can't,
the chat room.
Holly, we can't sing that song. It's copyrighted. We'll get in trouble when we
Well,
distribute the
I'm going to
show.
say happy
No, we can't.
birthday,
Yeah, we got to do it real briefly.
moon.
Yes, happy birthday,
Happy
moon. This is
birthday,
our Imaginarium version of the song. Happy birthday, moon.
moon.
Yes. Yeah, we can't sing the official one because
We
yeah, that's supposed to be
love
copyrighted, and then
you.
they'll not air our show on all
Hey,
this
I
platforms.
sang my own songs. There you go.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we didn't get in trouble. We're good.
Nah, nah.
So happy birthday, Moon. That's awesome. Yes, he is the one and only Moon of Sacco and the Moon podcast, of course. And all things come back to wrestling. And yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, award-winning screenwriter, filmmaker, author, all that good stuff. And he's in the house tonight. And so yeah,
He
but
is.
before we get too deep into things, yeah, I do have to bring folks up to date quickly though on Imaginarium News. We are now sold out. Vendor Hall did not sell out till May of last year. We are sold out now. Kratos Alley and Expo Hall are full. If you,
However, you could
yeah,
get on a
the
list
waiting list.
because yes,
Spots, well,
because
yeah, spots always
we
do open up, but we always get a couple that
we
open
always
up.
have cancellation, something
Things
goes
happen.
wrong, yeah.
Schedule change,
So
their job situation, things like
so
that.
not all is lost. Not all is lost.
Get your name on the waiting list. It's the link is on the vendor page. So just sign up for the waiting list if you still need a vendor spot. But otherwise, at the moment, they are both sold out. Both areas are sold out. Also, to give you an update, the banquet menu is now up. That has been decided upon between Chef and Holly and everybody. So
Yes.
yeah, it's a great one. We got a great menu. It's a little and it's a nice change up from the past couple of years, I think. But it's a great menu. You can see it
Bougie.
online. You can see it online, but it's going to be, I think, a phenomenal dinner next summer. And there's only about 100 seatings available for dinner service, so don't wait to reserve your dinner spot for the awards banquet. It's not something to wait around on because
Which
as fast
means,
as fast as the vendor hall sold out this year, months ahead of what
hey,
last year did. Yeah, don't wait
we
on that.
we have tried to hang on as long as we could in the Holiday Inn because we love them.
Yeah.
However, this is 98% probable that this will be our last year there. We have to move to a bigger venue, um,
Yeah.
because we have tons more people that are going to want vendor spaces, that are going to want to set up, great guests that
Mhm.
want to come aboard and be in, have a table to expo. And so, yeah, we've grown, we've outgrown. Good problem to have.
Mhm.
So we're going to be a little crowded this year, but that means, by gosh, we'll be busy, right? There'll be foot traffic, there'll be a lot going on, so we're going to be busy, 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 and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, don't wait. Get your Awards Banquet
Yep,
tickets.
get it now.
You want to do the service, get them now. Because yeah, at the rate that those vendor spaces sold out, don't wait. But we also had a lot of new guests announced over the past week that have come aboard, and I'll give you a quick rundown of those. Then we'll go to the folks that brought you tonight's show, and then on to our guest segment. But coming aboard for next summer is author, artist, and cosplayer Chad Elliott. Very excited to see Chad back with us, and of course,
Sure.
yes, and then author, editor, and poet Christina Morocco will be making her first Imaginarium appearance.
Woo!
Christina will be coming up on a very soon on the Star Chamber show, so keep an eye out for that. She'll be a guest with us. We also have, of course, the well-loved, award-winning author, editor, publisher, artist, cosplayer, game designer. She does everything. Ren Million is coming back as a spotlighted guest. Also coming for the first time as author Heather Don Torres. And Heather actually won an Imagine Award last year in the children's book category, but Heather's coming for the first time as a panelist. And then we also have author, editor, screenwriter, filmmaker, and actor Robert Hollywood Gobelay is coming for the very first time. So
Another Hollywood. I
two
love
new
it.
two new faces. It's going to be awesome. And then another Imaginarium favorite, award-winning artist, poet, filmmaker, actor, and podcaster Jason William Allen was also announced.
Yay.
And also announced and in the chat room right now is award-winning author, filmmaker, screenwriter, playwright, and podcaster Amy Lee McCorkle. And
Woo!
and coming as a panelist for the very first time, we welcomed author Marian Gosling. You might know is on our staff the past
Yay.
year. She's coming to work at the Kentucky Romance Writers Group's table, Kentuckiana Romance Writers Group's table, and she is a panelist for the first time. And author Stephanie Houchin is coming for the first time as a panelist as well.
Yay.
And of course, that rascal Brick Marlin, author and
Oh,
musician Brick
Brick.
Marlin, is back. And also joining us for the first time is author Jason Tanamore. Jason Tanamore coming for the first time to Imaginarium. So yeah, a lot of great guests coming aboard here. So give you up to date there, and I'm going to have to roll to keep us on time. But those who brought you tonight's
Go,
show
go,
are
go.
Ren Garcia in the League of Elders series, and Sandy Lender, of course, the amazing Sandy Lender with Sandy Says Read BookTube channel. So let me give you a little bit from Ren, and then we'll give you a little bit about Sandy, and then we're going to roll into tonight's guest, who was absolutely awesome. I can't wait. But here's a little bit from Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Are you
Yes,
weird
we are.
enough for us, Ren? That's the question.
That's the question. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Ren. Your League of Elders series is fantastic. Check it out. And here's a bit from Sandy Lender and the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube.
Star Chamber listeners already know that author Sandy Lender offers you a variety of spec fiction and epic fantasy adventures to help you escape reality. Did you know she also offers positive, quirky book discussions and reviews on her BookTube channel, Sandy Says Read? Check out the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube for over 600 book chats to entertain you. The channel includes the Indie Book Spotlight and the DIY for Creatives playlists, along with others to help you find videos and essays that pique your literary interests. Subscribe for free to the Sandy Says Read channel in time for the Monday night upload and join the community where our motto is, you can always find something good in a book.
Thank
Yes,
you
you
very
can.
much, Sandy. Yes, you can. Again, Sandy Says Read on YouTube. Give it a subscribe, give them likes, comments. Tell Sandy, yeah, I heard about her channel here on the Star Chamber Show. And we are right on time, Holly, right on time for the
Aha.
guest segment.
Aha.
And I'm going to roll right into this. And it's very timely, too, considering we had the Scarefest weekend, because this guest was at Scarefest. But is coming up to Imaginarium. Our tonight's guest is a content creator, paranormal investigator, urban explorer, and preservationist. who has been an explorer of abandoned haunted places for over 10 years and was first introduced to the paranormal at Waverly Hills Sanatorium back in 2010. He has collaborated with Haunted Nights, Kalani Ghost Hunter, The Ghoul Guide, and many others, and has a brand new show on the Beacon TV streaming network, Urban Investigator, set to air in November 2025. So it is my honor and privilege to bring onto the Star Chamber show for the first time, Imaginary spotlighted guest, Vince Kelien. Vince, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Great to have
Hello.
you. Great. We have a mutual friend. I had several people message me about tonight's show, and one says that they have as long of a history with you as they do with me. So I have to give that friend a shout.
Nice.
Yeah,
Greg
that friend has been a friend for a long time.
That is awesome. Yeah, Greg and I also go back a long ways, and he said it was about a similar tenure, and so I had to give Greg a shout out at the beginning of the show. But
Greg actually sponsors everything that I do.
yeah,
Wow.
he is amazing. Yeah, he said he's been a great friend and very supportive of my path personally, and yeah, such an amazing bass player, phenomenal bass player.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Play and just a great all around guy. But we're so glad to have you on the show, and the timing.
Yes, I'm
better.
excited because we didn't get to talk to you like I wanted to over the weekend because we were so daggone busy, and I was exhausted. I mean, flat done, baked, cooked. I was a turkey that was in the oven too long. I'm telling you.
Well, you
So
should probably get out of there because I think I'd probably kill you.
I did. I ran. Sunday, I come home, went to bed, and didn't really get up out of bed fully until yesterday. So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
But we did get to meet you.
my
It was
fibro
great.
was like, no.
When we looked up and saw you, and like, oh,
Yes.
perfect. And you were on.
I know.
And I don't know if you noticed on the back of those cards we were handing out, but you were on the back of every single one of those. We had
Yes.
Yeah.
a picture on the back of this.
And I love the little ghosty I got.
Yeah.
That is so adorable. I have it sitting here on my little altar in my room. It's so cute.
I'll make sure to tell Shane to order more.
Yes, definitely. Because they are, oh my God, imaginary people would love them.
I'll
They're
keep that
so
in
cute.
mind.
But I didn't get to tell you, Vince. I would, I didn't know that much about you until recently, which I don't know how I didn't, but we get caught up and know so many people, and Imaginarium is just, blew up, and so we're busy. But I am clairvoyant, and I have always seen and talked to ghosts my entire life, childhood up. I don't ever remember a time that I didn't see them or talk to them or see toys move. I had weird experiences when I was young. Now it's everyday life. Stephen is used to it. I'll tell you some stories sometime. But yeah, Stephen has got used to them, and they're always around me. I've learned how to tune it out, dude. But we'll be going in the store, and I'll be like, Stephen, somebody's grandfather is with them, or grandma, or there's an old person following them, and and then they're everywhere. But yeah, it's incredible that I get to chat with you, because another thing, Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva, who is in the chat room, Miss Eva and me with some other friends are going to Waverly Hills on November 1st, and we're going to stay till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. I've not got to do that yet.
It's my home away from home.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I've worked at Waverly on and off since. I don't work there currently. I haven't worked there for a couple of years, but I've worked there on and off since 2010. When people ask me what the most, because that's the typical question I get all the time, what's the most haunted place I've ever been to?
Waverly.
And it's completely biased because I've been to over 400 locations. But Waverly is number one, and it always has been, and it always will be.
I think it was just the amount of suffering. There were suicides. There was just so much.
Yeah.
sorrow there, and these poor souls are, just stuck in that, and a lot of them don't even realize that they have passed, and they're just stuck in that circle, and it's sad, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's very active. I know I went there for the haunted where they do the Halloween,
Hmm.
the haunted house thing. I've been to that, but I've never got to go to actually investigate or walk around and communicate with some of them. So I'm curious. I am. I do. Have you actually got to play with Timmy? That was one of my questions.
So Timmy is more of a how do you explain this? So Timmy is more of a is just the name of it. It's a name that someone had given a spirit, and it just
Right.
kind of stuck.
Hmm.
It wasn't that there's any actual documentation on a little boy
Right.
named Timmy or Timothy or whatever the case, but
But that's
um,
what he's called. Yeah.
yeah. So I've rolled the ball down every single hallway, and I've had it roll back before. It's not very often, but when it does, you're kind of shell shocked. But you also, when you are, whether you're ghost hunting or you're just having everyday life, which for me that's what it was.
Right.
Because I mean, there's balls everywhere at Waverly. Investigators bring them in, they leave them, whatever the case. Um, we used to have cleanup days where the cleanup day would involve nothing but picking up balls.
Oh my
Um,
God! I didn't realize that.
yeah. So I mean, if you go down to the bottom of you go down to the bottom of the body chute, you'll probably have 1 to 5 balls down there.
Wow.
Because people are excited, they're like, "Oh my god!" Ball rolling down a steep path.
Right. Well, it is
Um,
cool. If you've never
yeah,
experienced it, I can understand. Yeah.
but yeah, Timmy's the spirit itself. You have to do it in a good area, because if you don't, there's parts of the floors that are cracked, and some of the areas have rough terrain, whatever the case. So you have to do it in a good area. But I mean, I've had it done in many areas in that building, um, where I would purposely go into a room, sweep it up, and clean it up just to do the ball roll, and nothing would happen. But then sometimes I would do it just out of nowhere, and it would happen. Um, but I have what I assumed would be playing with the spirit that everyone calls Timmy. Yes.
Right. That's fascinating. That really is. I did not know that people brought in stuff, with them like that and left it. That's kind of shitty though on their part too, because you should respect. Even if there is abandoned buildings, nobody's living there or whatever. Still, you should respect um
Well,
people's property.
I wouldn't go that far, because it's
No.
no, I don't think I would go that far, because a lot of the times the people they'll leave the balls and toys and stuff like that as tribute. So like, hey,
Ah, okay.
if you get bored, here you go.
Okay, so they're just not leaving their trash and stuff around.
No.
They're actually leaving this for the ghost. I get you.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think,
that makes more sense.
and even with that too, though, even whenever it comes to like trash and stuff, just from my prior experience, my previous experience, is that
Uh-huh.
a lot of the times, if someone does leave something, it's by pure accident. It's not intentional. Like, well, I don't want to carry this all the way back to the lobby.
Right.
Um, most of the times, I don't know if you can tell, I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but um, I think that a lot of the times, as far as trash is concerned, or whatever the case like that, where we would deem it disrespectful, a lot of the times it's just out of forgetfulness. You sit your water bottle down and you walk away, and you have every intention of coming back to getting it, but you leave it, and it's like, whoopsie. Um,
Right.
but even with that though, I'm sure tours and everything still operate the same way as when I was there before. And so after tours, somebody would walk through the tour route and make sure to pick up, or when someone's done with a private overnight, that tour guide will go in whenever you guys leave, and will check to make sure there's no trash or no problems, lock up, and
Right.
go home. But so I mean, the building's pretty well kept, for what it is. But that's I've had a lot of experiences at a lot of different places, but Waverly just kind of shows out.
That's awesome. Well, would you like to elaborate with our listeners and let them know exactly what you do, what you're known for, and maybe discuss some of your most memorable cases or ones that have really, stayed with you?
Absolutely. So I've kind of always just been on social media. And the paranormal was something I've always loved just because of Waverly itself. But um, I've always kind of been online consistently as far as like posting, whether it was paranormal content or not. And one that really shook him.
Yeah.
But for what I'm known for is being a full-on jackass. I like to have fun. I like to goof around. I like to play around. But the one thing that people know me for mostly is urban exploring, which is illegal. I don't suggest it to anybody. So, Vamp Chat, Dana and Eva and Holly Phillippe and all these people don't get no bright ideas. I don't suggest it, but
I have done it.
the whole point for me is to so it used to be that, and I mean it still kind of is, but I haven't done a whole lot of exploring in the last year, only because of events and overnights and stuff like that. But most of what it used to be about for online content was that I would seek out abandoned asylums, abandoned schools, abandoned hospitals, sanatoriums, whatever the case you can possibly think of. And excuse me, it would be for, I wanted the owner of whatever that property was to see it. I wanted them to see the video that I was going to put out. Now, whether that was government or it was a personal owner, whatever the case, I wanted them to see my video because I wanted them to see that they could make money. Now, for some people, they're like, well, why profit off of something old and decrepit? Well, here's the kicker with that is that I've always told people, I don't care what you turn your abandoned building into, as long as you don't demo, as long as you bring it up to code and you can rent them out as apartments. You can sell it to the highest bidder. You can run ghost tours. You can run ghost hunts. You can run a haunted house. I don't really care what you do, but the whole point of the videos is to make you see that there's money to be made. And in that entirety of what I want to happen is not specifically everyone's, because it's always about money, but what it boils down to is that there's some of these buildings, and I'll give an example. Molly Stark Sanatorium was a little, I think it was 100 years old. Give me 1 second. Researching while I'm on a podcast is wild.
It happens.
We do that too.
So Molly Stark was 95 years old.
Wow.
Opened in 1929, closed its doors in 1995. It was demoed over the weekend while we were at Scarefest. Now the building was full of asbestos. That sucks.
Most are. Yeah.
That's fine, whatever. But they left it abandoned since 1995. So, you can argue all day long, but you left it abandoned for over 20 years.
Right.
So, you can argue that it, is falling, it's decrepit, or, it's unsafe or, whatever the case. But the fact of the matter is that you left it abandoned. You didn't do anything with it. You didn't have asbestos removal when you could have done it at the earliest stages and still be able to, turn it, flip it, and do whatever you're going to do with it. And instead you left it there and called it an eyesore.
Right.
So, you got the building to the point of complete disrepair,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the world misses out on an opportunity to see it, walk through it, explore it, ghost hunt, rent out an apartment, rent out a hotel room, um, rent out an Airbnb, like a utilized Airbnb, or you miss the opportunity to take a professor's college course in that building.
Right.
Whatever the building could have been, you missed out because someone was greedy, someone didn't have their head on their shoulders correctly, and these commissioners in these different counties and different states, forgive me for anyone who anyone would deem an elder, but for whatever reason, anyone who is over 60, that is not into preservation or restoration, or doesn't see a building for what it is and what it once was, they don't have a single clue as to how much this generation, and I'm talking about millennials, Gen X, Gen Z,
Yep.
baby boomers, whatever, the younger generations, they have no idea what these generations want. And
Right.
what we want is to see these gorgeous locations thrive. And for whatever reason and for whatever profit, nobody actually cares, just as long as you do something.
Well, even in the homeless population, that's what I'm like. We've got all these buildings sitting, just going to shit. Nobody's doing anything with, and these a lot of them are wealthy people own these. Let them get decrepit. Don't do nothing with them. Why not use them for
I
the
love the way
homeless?
you said that. That was hilarious.
Well,
It's
that's the
like
truth.
decrepit.
Decrepit. I have a little accent, but yeah,
Yeah.
I I am like, why don't you use it for people that are living in a tent or a cardboard box?
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I get that all the time, and I used to hate it when people brought that up. It was like, oh, well, turn it into a homeless camp and this and this and that. And I used to
Right.
hate it. But the only reason why is because, if you turn it into a homeless camp, no one's going to go near a homeless camp if you're not
Nope.
homeless.
No, that's true. That's
So
true.
then the beauty of the building is never to be seen,
Yeah, that's
except
true.
for those who are homeless.
Right.
And I live in Louisville, Kentucky, where and I love getting under people's skin because I always try to remember to pronounce it Louisville, because it is named after Louis the 16th,
Instead of Louisville.
and instead of Louisville, because
Yeah.
it always
Right.
makes me always think that people are chewing on quarters. Um, but I love to get under people's skin about the pronunciation. But you can drive through Louisville and you can see homeless people all over the place. And we have several shelters, but they don't stay in them. And
Right.
it's not that they're bad people or whatever the case, but it's not too unheard of. Might get some hate for this one. It's not too unheard of to see a man walking around downtown Louisville with his pants to his ankles,
Right.
with no
Yeah.
underwear.
Ah.
It's not hard to walk around and see a woman walking around with no shirt on. And don't get me wrong, I'm nothing if I'm not a feminist, right? And power to the woman, but just walking around with no shirt on is the equivalent of a man walking around with his pants off.
Oh, that's sad.
So and some homeless people are not in their right mind.
Well, that and
Now,
drugs.
well, that too, but and some of that I'm sure has a lot to do with the fact that they became homeless in the first place.
Right.
And and I'm sure that can get to you. I've never been homeless, so I wouldn't know, but I have a he's gonna hate me. I have a dad who's a 40 40 some odd years in battling alcohol and drug addiction.
Ah.
So I know,
Yep.
like, I
No
get it.
firsthand. Yep. My
I
brothers
understand it.
were.
I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's been homeless before.
Right.
Um, family cut him off, whatever the case,
Right.
and
Right.
this isn't me trying to dog him. I'm just using him as an
No,
example
it's facts. That's
because
just life.
because
Yeah.
I love my dad and he's my,
Right. Right. It's a disease. Yeah.
when you grow up, when you're a kid and you're growing up, if your dad's in your life, that's usually who you look to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so I do get it and I do understand, but turning an abandoned sanatorium that let me ask you a question. Do
Yes.
you know where Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed? Do you know
No.
where the original house is?
No.
The original house for Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed in Pasadena, California.
Okay.
But we're told it's in Springwood, Illinois, because that's the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you would probably, if you go into California, right, and you're a big Nightmare fan, you'd love to probably stop in and see that, right?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
That would be dope, right?
100%.
You get to see the door that Nancy was trying to get out of through the window, which is
Yep.
crazy. So it's the same thing whenever you go to Ohio State Reformatory. It's not your first mind, even if you're a ghost hunter, your first mind isn't, I can't wait to investigate this. It's holy shit, Morgan Freeman walked through this building. I loved Shawshank Redemption. Like, this is incredible. So I mean, some of these buildings have been filmed in. Some of these buildings have cinematography value also. So, like, if you're going to tear it down, that blows that out the window. There's nothing
Right.
that can be done at that point. And if there was something that was filmed at that property, why didn't you take care of it as if it was, something that could have been used? And I'll give you
Right.
another example when it comes to that is the United Methodist Church in Gary, Indiana. So for everyone else and the viewers listening and everything else, Gary, Indiana is the hell house from Zach Bagans' Demon.
Right. Right. I know about it. Yeah. Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And that, ironically, somehow, some way, Zach now has a visual condition, and thought that it was best to tear down the house. So we don't get to see it.
I know. I
Only-
know. And it blew my mind because I'm like, well, the shit's still there. It doesn't matter if the house isn't, that it's still the ground.
Well,
you
you could also
you-
argue this though, is that, while he did tear down the house, he
Yeah.
took down the basement and reinstalled it in his
Well,
museum.
yeah. So I can't,
Never
I
know.
don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd. I don't know.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at with these buildings, is that you look for demolition, and then a town like someone corrected me because Louisville, Kentucky and Louisville, Ohio are not the same pronunciation. Like Louisville or Louisville, Ohio wasn't named after Louis the 16th, so it has a different pronunciation. But that's where Molly Stark Sanatorium is. And there's nothing out there. There's nothing out in Louisville, Ohio. There's nothing out there. You just lost what could have been your path to tourism.
Right.
The only tourism that you would have had, because there's nothing out there. So, when we speak about, what to do with things, what to do with places and everything else, there's I actually have like a panel. So like when I do panels, I utilize the panel to talk about this. It's called, it's a preservation panel, and which I call it, oh gosh, what was it? It was like bad habits it's called abandonment issues. In which I take 10 locations that are in trouble, for the obvious reasons. And then 10 buildings that were abandoned and are now prospering because of preservation and restoration. it's important. I mean, there's so many different places in the world that have taken on a different approach to tuberculosis hospitals and asylums and things of that nature. If you go look
Uh-huh.
in Buffalo, New York, there's a hotel called the Richardson, and it was the Buffalo State Hospital for the Insane back in the day. Beautiful giant Kirkbride turned into a hotel.
Nice.
If you go to Danvers, Massachusetts, you will find the Bradley Danvers apartment complex, where it was the Danvers State Hospital for the Insane. Their entire lobby and their mainstay, their gym, their pool, everything is inside the Kirkbride. It's the forefront of the apartment complex, and it's like a 5-star complex. Like it's like $5,000 for a 1-bedroom. It's ridiculous, but they've
Wow.
turned it into a luxury apartment complex. Like there's something for everything. I don't care what you do with the buildings.
Right.
As long as it's being preserved. Going into some other places, we want to talk a little bit about like experiences. Well, I'll give you one that sticks out the most. This is putting Waverly on the back burner. There is a hospital in Poughkeepsie, New York, called the Hudson River State Hospital. It used to be that there was also an insane asylum, and then there was a tuberculosis hospital. This building was never finished construction. It's over 100 years old.
Wow.
It had a men's ward and a women's ward. And if you look at the map, the women's ward is 10 times bigger. If we remember anything about history, we know that you could drop your wife off
Yep.
at
Get
the
you a new one.
insane asylum,
Yep.
because she gave you lip, or because she didn't do the
Or ate
dishes,
cheese.
or ate
Or ate
cheese,
a
or
book.
whatever. Because back then men just thought that women weren't superior, and that's obviously ridiculous at today's age. We almost had a female president, so we're we're in different times, obviously.
Right.
But so this place is heavily guarded by police and security, neither of which have ever deterred me or scared me. And me and a buddy of mine, his name is Drew. He's has a company called Haunted Raven. His mom came with us too. Sonia, she's a sweetheart. But once we got there and got like on the property without anyone seeing, we realized how big the place was, and we had to split up. So I find an entrance for myself. I go into the entrance, and I'm walking down this long corridor. And if you can, you think about any movie in the world that you can think of, The Shining, Casper, Shawshank, any movie that's got any kind of like spooky, eerie element. And it's always that long hallway, whatever the case. This is that scene. And I'm walking down this hallway, and I feel what feels like my daughter grabbing hold of my finger to hold my hand. And I say that, and I bring my daughter into it because my daughter and I always had a specific hand holding technique, because her hand's smaller than mine, and she'd wrap her hand around my finger, and I would wrap the other 3 fingers around her wrist, and that's how we held hands. And this is what happened. And I was in such shock that I couldn't pull away, and I could feel someone's hand. So I just curled those other 3 fingers up around the wrist, and I looked down, scared to death, thinking that somehow my daughter had gotten in the car before I left. And I'm not an irresponsible parent by any means.
No, but things happen.
But this thing that happened was so lifelike and real. There was warmth to this handhold.
Right.
So I looked down, and obviously the person wasn't there. I then it lasted for a good couple more seconds before it just kind of went away. Like I could feel the wrinkles. I could feel the small wrinkles on the hand. I could feel the warmth from the hand. I could feel the sweat from the palms. I could feel the fingernails. Anything and everything you could possibly think of when you hold someone's hand, I could feel. And I just kind of sat down pretzel style in the middle of the hallway and let loose with what I could without attracting attention to myself.
Right.
Because it felt like somebody was looking for a friend. Maybe they want to play. Maybe they were tired. Maybe they want to get out of there. Maybe they just, a new person to talk to, whatever the case.
Right. They were communicating. Yep.
Yeah. And that has been, I want to say that's one of the more memorable moments that I've had. And this was just exploring. I had no intention of ghost hunting. I never do when it comes to exploring. And the reason why is because I don't want to take advantage of, I have a different way of thinking about exploring abandoned buildings as a ghost hunter. I don't want to take advantage of whoever is there, because
Right.
I'm there to see the beauty. I'm there to make whoever owner, who, what, where, when, aware that their building is valued in a visual aspect.
Right.
So I try not. So I don't do a whole lot of ghost hunting when I'm exploring these buildings, but I do my fair share of going to Penhurst, going to Trans-Allegheny, going to Old Hospital in College Hill, going to Hinsdale House or Wildwood Sanitarium or Madison Seminary, Billy Creek Village, Indiana State Sanatorium. I could go on and on and on. These are all owned and operated locations that give tours, historical, private, ghost, and overnight investigations. But it's the stuff in between time that I tend to get the most activity. And when I do, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot of the times it is when you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
It just happens, because you never know who's going to be active when. I mean, you could take all the ghost hunting equipment you want, but that don't mean they're going to be active at that time. Maybe nobody wants to talk at that specific time or whatever. You can't always guarantee it.
Yeah.
And then there's other times you don't have all the equipment and all this thing, all these things happen. You're like, dang it, I wish I'd have brought this or that. But yeah, it's just like people. They're, unpredictable because they were once people, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah. hmm
Yep.
And they gravitate toward. Sometimes it's male, sometimes it's a female. Personalities.
Sure.
It just depends.
My God, light bright. That was what you concluded to?
I
Someone's
love
mind
it.
is
The
in the gut.
vibrator was invented to treat hysteria. You are right, Lightbright. That is true. That is
Yeah.
actually a true fact. They used to do that to women in asylums because they believed that women climaxing would cure their hysteria. Now, this was purely a medical procedure, right? And the doctors got nothing out of this. Okay.
What's really funny is that, I don't like to boast or brag, but anytime that a vibrator has ever been in any situation that I've ever been in, it's caused hysteria in the best way. Why am I why am I still hysterical then? I don't like to brag or boast or anything, but
I love it.
but anyway, there's so many different things that we use today now, like what Lightbright was talking about, the vibrator or whatever the case. There's so many other things that were invented for asylums and for treatment of mentally ill people. That weren't even mentally ill. Some people just had autism. Some people had Down syndrome. Some people had, whatever, ADHD, ADD, whatever the case. There's so many different things that were made to treat like hysteria or to treat measles, mumps, headaches, fevers that we use in a sexual manner today.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. It's the wildest thing.
It is.
Um, the the original butt plug was used for and is still used today as a way to cork a body during for funeral home showings, so they
Yes,
didn't leak. So they didn't
I
leak.
did leak. Yep. That's how that come about. And somebody got the bright idea. Ooh, let's try it for another reason.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, live and learn, right?
yeah.
Well, the since we're on that subject of the dead, um, have you ever got to like urban investigate a funeral home, like a very old funeral home?
Yeah, I've had a couple in my time. There's one in North Carolina. I'm not going to give out names because some of these places are very untouched. Um, and when you most of the names I'll give out just because I want the owners to see it, but sometimes when you do that, that causes that alerts scrappers and that alerts
Right.
children and teenagers and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yep.
and they don't have the best intentions.
Nope.
But there was one in North Carolina um, that had had two hearses in the overhang of the
Wow.
funeral home that were in very nice condition. If you were to, we found a window that was open. That's another thing too, is if I go into any of these places, I've drove 15 hours for a location before that I couldn't get into.
Right.
But that's what the drone is for. I'll throw the drone up in the air and then I'll do a little voiceover, to tell people about the location.
Exactly.
But this one in particular, when you walked in, it was so immaculate that I almost thought that maybe I had the wrong place.
Wow. It was just
There,
like up and left.
yes. So there was a Dr. Pepper can at the receptionist desk. That if you picked it up and wiggled it, there was still liquid in it.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah, and some of these places, just like this funeral home, had heating and air and electricity, had lights and everything else, and there were still some lights on. And once you got down into the basement, where so they also did cremations and they did embalming and stuff like that. And once you got into the basement, that's where you're like, okay, yeah, this place is definitely abandoned because like there's mold and there's mildew and some stuff are kind of thrown around, whatever the case. But what's great about urban exploring is every once in a while I will run into a place that someone, excuse me, has cleaned up. So like some urban explorers they'll like to set the scene, right? So like for their photography or for their videos, whatever the case. So they'll clean the place up. So it's very possible that this place was kind of like, really, really fucked up before, but someone
Right.
came in and just cleaned it up and maybe they just forgot the basement. But um, the viewing area had a casket that was sitting there like someone was, like they were about ready to have a viewing, have a wake.
Huh.
Where the reception area was immaculate with the exception of the Dr. Pepper can. Um, there were still files that were sitting on the desk. When you walked into the mortician's office, it was really nice and clean and looked really nice. Now, granted, it was 2 years since it had been abandoned, so that means that no one has really been in there. But once you got into the basement is where it was kind of rough. They had some rusting caskets that viewing displays, stuff like that. And the where they did the embalming and stuff, there was like they had the embalming table down there. They had the
Wow.
embalming machine. They had all the utensils, the tools. It's kind of like stepping back in time, not very far, but just enough to where you're like, this was probably like 1995, 96, 97, whatever. Is
Right.
probably when they were in their peak of being like successful. Because there were still some like older photos, but you can see a little bit of modernization in the building, right? So like they got new carpet at some point. just different things here and there. But yeah, I've explored a few. And believe it or not, those are some of the quietest places I've ever been to when it comes to like paranormal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Eva's asking, what is, let's see how the wildest thing that you've ever found?
Well, that handhold was pretty crazy, but
Yeah.
I'll give you another. Siphon through my Rolodex in my brain. So I did a guest spot on Shane Pittman and Josh Purvis's show, Searchers Afterlife. And we were at Eloise Asylum in Westland, Michigan.
Okay.
And as you know, like whenever someone's doing big productions, whatever, there's a whole bunch of cameras to set up, there's lights to set up. It's a whole thing.
Right.
So while they're doing all that, I help a little bit here and there. I'm like, oh, where do you want this light? I'm like playing like lighting director and shit. I had a lot of time to myself to go around and just kind of walk around and did some filming of my own and, just, doing some reels and stuff. And, I was walking down a hallway on the 4th floor, and it's a long corridor, really, really eerie because there's no lights, whatever. There might be electricity, but none of the lights were on, so I don't know. But it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is kind of setting, not really, so it is dark, but you're still getting a little bit of light in. And we're talking about Timmy with the ball. Well, I had a ball that rolled across the hallway from one room into another.
Wow.
Now, wow. feeling anything and everything. I mean, I could go back to the Rolodex with Waverly and tell you that I felt hands touch my shoulder. I felt pushing. I felt shoving. I've felt gentle caresses on the back of the neck. I've felt something that felt like they ran their finger from the tip of my finger up my shoulder.
Right.
But there's so many other locations, I know Waverly is like, I'm so tied to it, but so I try to give other stories, but, the craziest one is definitely that handhold because it felt human. It felt real.
Right. It was so, yeah. Yeah. Real. Yeah.
Does he still believe in or had experiences with demonic entities? Still thinking about Annabelle? No, I've never had anything that I thought was demonic or evil. Annabelle. So I had the opportunity to lead an investigation with Shane at Scarefest this past weekend. And not a lot of words coming from that case. But here's the kicker with that too, is that even in death, if you go read Ed Warren's book, he says specifically that Annabelle is not haunted. He says that Annabelle is a conduit for a demonic entity. Right. Nothing is actually haunting Annabelle. It's moved around to give the impression of possession.
Right.
Or sorry, the impression, not the oppression, the impression of possession. So it makes you think that the doll itself is haunted. But we didn't really get anything much from like the case or herself or whatever the case. But we did get a lot of activity, a lot of yes and no's. And at one point in time, we were running dual Estes. We had the two people that were under fighting and arguing with each other under Estes. It was a cool experience. But as far as like demons and demonic entities and things of that nature, I believe that they exist, but I've never ran into anything. It's YouTube is a smoke show, and I will finish it off with this too. Is that I've got plenty of friends that are on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I don't like my own videos because I think they're shit. But that's why Beacon is so great, is because production is beautiful, right? And I don't have to edit any of it. LOL. Anyway, so with YouTube, it's a little bit different. You have to differentiate entertainment from reality.
Right. Oh,
And
yeah.
there is a lot of people out there with the older generation in their 60s and 70s, 80s, whatever, that they're like, I've been doing this for 98 years and I've never in my life came across a demon. And I'm just like, dude, Harold, relax. It's not that serious. You have to differentiate the difference between entertainment and paranormal investigating, because there's a
Right.
difference.
Yep.
And I've learned in my time that there's room for everyone in the paranormal, whether you're a debunker, whether you're an entertainer, whether you're an investigator. If you're just a smoke show TV host, that's fine too. But there's room for everyone. These YouTubers aren't saying that they're lying to you and saying that what they're catching and what they're getting is fact or fiction. They're just saying, hey, look, this is what we got. And holy shit, this scares me to death and everything else. They've figured out a formula to get views and clicks. And there's nothing wrong with that. Here's the kicker, is that brings more attention into our field, whether it's good or bad. And sometimes bad publicity is good publicity.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
That's true.
Publicity is publicity. Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I just, I wish they would state, based upon real events, or this is, uh, entertainment purposes only, or,
Sure.
but it is what it is, right? I mean, you can go through and decide for yourself, but I appreciate the ones in the field that do have like the debunkers with them, and so when things do happen, they can try to disprove it. But if they can't, and then they catch all this activity on other equipment that they have and such, it gives more legitimacy to the paranormal investigations.
Absolutely.
And
I,
scientifically proves things.
Sure. I think about the only thing that the only thing I'm not a fan of, and this is just me, probably. The only thing I'm not a fan of is online YouTube debunkers. Not a fan. And the reason
Yeah,
why is because you're not physically there with those people.
exactly.
I
I
don't
agree.
have a problem with you having your own opinion,
Right.
but unless it's very clear that there's a rope or there's a fishing line, or that there's somebody in the background, or that the cameraman just kicked a rock and then claimed that it was whatever, unless you're there with those people, knock it off.
Yeah, because they don't have an opinion. Their opinion is null and void, because they
Everyone
wasn't
can
there
have
to
the
feel it,
opinion.
see it, experience it with their senses.
Yeah, and that's the case, and that's the kicker, is that you're 100% allowed to have your opinion, and you can go online and you could say,
Yeah.
hey, I think that this video was bullshit. But at the end of the day, and you're going to probably have other people that agree with you, but at the end of the day, that YouTuber might be sitting at home, sitting on the couch watching this reaction video and being like, man, I was there, I saw it happen.
Right.
And
Right.
you're just spewing shit, and someone else is, the person who did it maybe getting their feelings hurt, and what they got was genuine, possibly.
Right.
It just, like I said, I'm all up for everyone having a place in the paranormal, but there's some people out there that are just out to hurt other people.
Oh,
Oh,
definitely.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's in
Well,
every field. Yeah.
well, you brought it up. You mentioned it, and of course, we mentioned at the beginning. But your show, and I want to make sure that tonight we do cover what is coming up in November with
Absolutely.
Urban Investigator and the Beacon TV streaming network, and get some insight from you and preview from you on the new series.
Absolutely. So, hi, my name is Vince. I'm an urbexer and a paranormal investigator, and most importantly, a preservationist. I have a show coming out on streambeacontv.com in November. We're just a month away, and I don't have an exact date yet because, this is a very, very small amount of people doing an extreme amount of work, so we don't have an exact date. But in this series, we will be going through whether it's abandoned, owned, or operated locations with permission. This will be an urbexing situation, but it will not. We will have permission for these locations. Where I will show you the beauty, I will show you the ruin, and we'll see if maybe we can get some answers as to why it went abandoned, and maybe talk to the permanent residents of each location. And the beauty of this show is that if Vince doesn't get any evidence at all, you'll know it.
Right.
Nice.
I will still do my best to make it as entertaining as possible because I'm a full-blown jackass, but I will. But if there is if there's no evidence to give, you still have the exploring, you still have the beauty, you still have the drone shots, the pretty music, the interviews by the people who are there. And when people watch, I hope that they take in consideration that that sometimes it takes more than one time to go to a location.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that happens, and I've had it happen many times where I've had to go back and forth with multiple locations, more than once in order to get one single shred of evidence. So that's what's going to be beautiful about this show, is that if I don't get anything, you're going to know about it.
And so how many episodes will be the first season, or how's it structured?
So it's structured for 8. Now things are subject to change just because, like I said, it's a small team with a lot of work being done. Currently, Paranormal Mysteries is head of the charts on Stream Beacon TV right now with Cindy Kaza, Dave Schrader, and Shane Pittman. And they are in the middle of filming a show in Mexico with your very lovely new Prince of Darkness, Jack Osborne.
Nice.
It's ironic that we used to have a Prince of Darkness. Now he has been dubbed the King of Darkness, and now we have a Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
So they're in Mexico right now filming that. And let me just tell you that if you're upset about any of your favorite paranormal TV shows getting canceled on Discovery or Travel or Max or whatever the case, a lot of those people are already on Beacon and are filming projects currently. And if they're not already doing it, they're trying to get in or they're making their way in.
Nice.
So I'm not that familiar with Beacon TV. Is that like an add-on? Is that like an HBO, a Paramount, a Roku, all that?
Absolutely. It's on literally everything. You can get on iOS and Android for your mobile. You can get it on Roku. You can get it on Android TV. It's literally everywhere. I heard somewhere on the grapevine that they're trying to work on making it also available for airline flight.
Nice.
Ooh.
So if you've ever been on Delta or American Airlines or whatever the case, you see the different things that you can watch. Well, I've heard that they're working on that too.
Oh, fun.
Yep. And congratulations. This will be your first full show, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Holly and I are definitely looking forward to checking this out. And
yes.
Anyone who is viewing right now, if you go to sign up for streambeacontv.com, use code URBEX10 for 10% off.
URBEX10.
Cool.
Yep.
URBEX10.
Yep.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, that will be Holly and myself then for sure.
Yes. And we have listeners all over the world, because not all of them can listen live, see? So we get more listens, downloads, because, the time difference.
Right.
Yeah, when we distribute.
Eva's asking how you spell. Oh, there you go. He spelled it URBEX10. That is URBEX10. 10% off.
There's your URL.
StreamBeaconTV.com.
Yep.
Great.
But
fantastic.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that people, I hope that people enjoy the show, and I've got a lot of projects coming up, not just with the show, but some other projects and stuff coming up into the new year. I also you can find me at urbaninvestigator.com, and I also do overnight ghost hunts at different locations under the term urban investigations, as well as helping out with events such as Imaginarium and Scarefest and Booze on the Battleship and Gettysburg Battlefield Bash and all kinds of other different fun places. But yeah, that's me.
Well, the timing is good though, because next July we'll be able to celebrate this first season, and hopefully have already have fans of yours of this new show.
Yeah.
You know what was wild is doing that Scarefest thing. I posted a photo on, I think, just my Facebook or whatever. And I was like, if you're in Scarefest, this weekend, make sure to come see me.
Right.
And I was just there to help out Shane and Aaron make sure their tables were good for the weekend, because Scarefest was running a little low with staff or whatever. And I had people coming to see me, and some of them even looked at Shane and Aaron, and they was like, "Who?" And I was like,
"Who are you?" Yeah,
but they did it just to mess with them. But like at the same time, it was like I had friends and some viewers and stuff like that come out and hang out and stuff like that just because of that photo. So I mean, I get it sometimes. It's nice.
That is fun. That is fun. We had interestingly enough, we had somebody fly out from the Carolinas, North Carolina, in fact, who had seen a post from us on Friday, who flew out Saturday to catch up with us in person. So
to see us, I was like, well, that's awesome.
That is definitely a cool feeling.
Yeah, they had seen my post Friday night. I was like, well, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that is cool. But I was just glad we got to actually meet you in person. That was
a highlight beforehand. And then I do want to ask you, Vince, since you are so educated with Waverly and have been there and experienced a lot. Do you have any advice for me and Eva when we do go on the first? Because we are doing a tour, but then after the tour, they're going to let us loose and do our own little thing. So what would you advise?
My advice is to make sure that you talk to whoever you may talk to as a person and not as a child. My second is to use your eyes and ears. Those are your best investigative tools. And your best friends for an investigation is going to be a flashlight, your phone, and a recorder. Waverly doesn't need REM pods. Waverly doesn't need motion sensors. Waverly doesn't need all of those things. And for you to experience it for the first time, it's okay if you do it, but for the very first time, just walk around, listen, sit in a room by yourself, listen to your surroundings.
Okay.
Those are my suggestions, because it'll put you in a chokehold your first time.
I'm sure it's going to, because I'm going to make sure I'll say I'm going to make sure I'm centered. I'm going to sage. But
you don't. I promise you, Holly, you don't need it. I promise.
Okay. They're all good.
Here's the thing too: is that saging can also be a deterrent.
Right. That's true.
I'm not saying to leave yourself open. I'm just simply saying for Waverly, you don't need sage.
Okay. Good to know. I was also thinking about taking my divining rods, but you think I should just leave those home the first time?
No, you can.
Okay.
No, you can take all of your equipment and everything, bring it and have fun. But for a little bit of time, your first experience,
just sit alone. Yeah.
Just your first hour, first 2 hours, whatever. Just use your eyes and ears. Do some exploring, find yourself around the building, get familiar. And then, when you've had enough of being in the dark by yourself and being bored, then, break out all your shit,
Right. Right. All the goodies.
We'll definitely
thank you for the advice.
Thank you. and we'll
I will
definitely
let you know if we have
yeah,
anything miraculous or you know what. I know I will be talked to a few times. I know I will talk to somebody. Somebody will, because every time I go in a place like that, I light them up like Christmas trees because oh, there's a clairvoyant. Oh, I'm going to go talk to her. And then they all start wanting to talk at once. And I'm like, listen, one of you come through, but I can't talk to all of you at once. You have to, take your turns, so
Right.
I'm sure I'm going to hear, something. So I'll definitely let you know, dude. Whatever we experience, I'll
yeah,
let you know.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely will. And yeah, and
I
and
look
for the
forward to it.
audience, we'll report back on the air too of
Yeah.
Holly's adventure. We'll definitely let folks know how it
Me and
goes.
Eva's journey.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it has been a great visit with you tonight, Vince, and I
Absolutely.
really had a blast. And of course, yeah, coming right off the
Awesome.
Scarefest weekend, timing couldn't be better. And right about to hit your new series, Urban Investigator on Beacon TV, coming up in November. I mean, our timing is just perfect, and looking forward to seeing Imaginarium next summer. But thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. I love being on.
Yeah,
And
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 Holly.
before we go, I would like you to list, is there anywhere where people can personally chat with you or get a hold of you other than the website, or should they just go to the website?
If you go to the website, all of my socials are linked. I answer everybody. About the only time where I'm not able to answer everyone is if I have like a video that goes bananas on TikTok. But other than that, I read every single message. I respond to everyone. So I mean, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, doesn't matter.
All right.
It's true.
Thank
He even answered my emails. There
you.
you go, folks. All right, Holly, I'll let you wrap it up. Give you the
All right.
honors.
Well, thank you, Vince. It's been a great show. This was a lot of
Absolutely.
fun. Lot of fun. And yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing how your Beacon adventure goes and your show, and looking forward to watching it. And yeah, I will be in touch to let you know how it goes at Waverly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, Vince. Thank
Good night.
you. All right. All right, listeners out there, join us next Wednesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat for the rest of the week. Be creative. Happy birthday, Moon. Good night.